Welcome everyone to Ziflow's Spring 2026 product release webinar. We've got three key themes to take you through today: increased efficiency for enterprise teams, the future of collaborative proofing, the connected creative ops ecosystem. And we're also excited to share something new this session, which is a sneak peek into the Ziflow lab. And as always, we'll answer some of your questions and we'll offer more information and calls to action at the end of the session. My name is Liz Speier. I'm the VP of Marketing here at Ziflow, coming to you from Houston, Texas, as I said. Very excited to be joining you today for my first product release webinar, but I'm joined by two seasoned vets, familiar faces for all of you. Mike Hrymak, our Senior Solutions Engineer. Hello, Mike.
Hello, everyone. Great to be here again, coming to you live from beautiful Columbus, Ohio. Although not for long. I saw some people in Chicago in the chat. I'm coming home, although I'm going to be out in like the Naperville, Aurora area, so I get to be one of those people who say I'm from Chicago, but I'm actually from Naperville. And those of you who are from there get that joke.
Awesome. And John Stetic, our Chief Product Officer. John, how are you?
I'm doing well, Liz. Thanks so much for joining us here and leading things off. I'm joining everyone here from Toronto, Canada. Saw some other Canadians in the chat here. Someone from Hamilton, Ontario, which is just down the road from where I am. Great to be here and looking forward to sharing all the great stuff we've done.
Well, let's dive into our first theme today, which is all about increasing efficiency for enterprise teams. Up first, we've got bulk approvals. So for those of you who work with a large number of assets, maybe you're doing photo shoot reviews or dealing with a large number of web banners, there are times when you want to make it easy for your reviewers to approve those final changes all in one shot. With this newest feature, that's now possible. Mike, can you show us how it works?
Yeah, so this is kind of an evolution of the Ziflow gallery view. It felt like for a while at these quarterly release webinars, we were talking about this. Excited to come back to it. What this lets you do is really apply one decision to a group of selected proofs. Really useful for maybe large projects where many proofs require the same outcome. Instead of me having to go into this gallery and click into each one and make a decision on this, then make the same decision on the next one, from the gallery, if I'm a reviewer, because this really is a reviewer action, I can either just click in the upper right-hand corner, or I can hit Shift and select multiple, and then apply that same decision to multiple assets at once. And I'll also note, if you're an admin or a light user or a proof owner, this is also applicable from the dashboard. So if I go to actually a list of proofs in a folder, I can go in here, I can hit Shift, I can hit Control, and down on that bar on the bottom, I've got this Make Decision button. I can drop in here, I can go ahead and approve multiple, maybe mark them all as changes required. Just a really nice reviewer action to be able to apply that one decision to a group of selected proofs.
Now, on our last webinar, we showcased the ability to bring PDF comments into Proof Viewer. We know this isn't always the ideal working scenario, but for those of you with clients or that leverage tools like Viva Vault and need to be able to move information between systems, this feature is for you. Mike, since importing PDFs is now generally available, can you walk us through some of the recent enhancements?
Yeah, listen, it's not ideal to have to bring comments in from elsewhere into Ziflow, but we understand it happens. Whether you're in Viva Vault or you've just got that exec that still likes to mark up in Adobe or a client, we get it. It happens. When you upload that PDF into Ziflow, what you'll see in the comments section is this little heads up that, hey, there's a couple comments from the original PDF. When you hit that import button, it's going to bring those in pretty promptly into the proof viewer. Just a heads up, all imported comments are displayed under the name of the user who performed the import. You can see the original author, though, just by hovering over that imported section. It'll show you who made that. So it brings them in pretty promptly. There's some improved visibility for unsupported Adobe markups. Just helps with you don't have to do that ping-ponging back and forth between Acrobat or doing the manual retyping to bring it back into Ziflow. And if you want to read more about some of the admin settings, just head to the Help Center for the article about this.
Awesome. Thanks, Mike. Now, I know we made another new update around dashboard visibility to give folks, some flexibility around the results they are going to find when searching for a proof by name in the actual dashboard. How does that work?
I'm sure there are people on this call who have thousands of proofs in Ziflow. And if you're going to be looking for a proof in Ziflow, you're looking for a certain name. We've enhanced that search by name functionality within the dashboard just to be a bit more flexible and maybe return some more relevant results. It used to be when you searched, it would only return results where the proof name contained the exact terms you entered. So for example, if I search for Scotland 2025, the results would be restricted to only include proofs with the Scotland 2025 in the name in that order. With this release now, when I go search for Scotland 2025, it includes this and logic between your search terms. So now when I search for it, we can see it's pulled up Scotland 2020. It's brought up all the relevant proofs that have some terms in between it. And it also includes partial word results. It's just a little bit more flexible. It's kind of a little more clear. This would always kind of bug me when I'd go look for a proof to show an example of something and I couldn't remember the exact name. Just a little bit more flexible for those of you that are searching for a proof by name.
I saw in your dashboard there you have a website. I know a lot of our clients use Ziflow to review websites, whether it's for a new landing page they're launching or maybe reviewing live links in a monthly newsletter. Can you talk about some of the enhancements we've made to make reviewing websites a little bit easier for our client reviewers, and then some of the recent admin setting changes?
2 updates here around website proofs, one for some of the proof owners, the other for a little bit more of the behind the scenes things. So the first update has to do with actually proof creation. So previously you could only paste one URL at a time into Ziflow. We've added the ability to where you can now actually paste multiple URLs at once, as long as each URL is separated by a line break. So for example, if you're copying from like a spreadsheet or a document, if I drop those in, I hit enter, we'll see it brought all 3 in. I can now create separate proofs or I can combine them into one. Just a heads up though, just like when you're creating a single web proof, make sure you chose the correct version first, whether it's going to be live or a snapshot before you hit enter. Now, the other option here has to do a bit around the live website review, specifically our web proxy settings for that. For those of you who don't know what I mean by that, imagine the Ziflow proxy is like a secure digital bridge. Instead of Ziflow connecting directly to your website, which your security might block, our proxy fetches the site for you and then displays it safely inside of the proof viewer. Previously, we had like a master switch where the proxy was either on for every single website you reviewed or off for every single website. But in a world where you have to approve websites from a bunch of different sources, this could make things difficult. And so we've just made that single switch a little bit more flexible. You've got some more customization options instead of that all or nothing approach. And so in the settings, under the proof viewing settings, in the live website specific area, you can see I've got this website access method. In here, I can either do proxying all websites, that's fine. I can have it be dynamic, or I can proxy with an allow list and add some sites in here that I'll allow, or a block list. It's just giving us some more flexibility. And again, there's a really helpful article in the Help Center that goes deeper into this if this is something your team is running into, where you do have different sites with different settings that you want to play around with it.
We've done some interesting things there to support web. John, I know that's not everything. What else has the team been working on?
Yeah, so there's lots of different polish around areas and improvements on things. So there's really a bunch of helpful updates for working with really any proof anywhere and by anyone. Building on what we've talked around with web reviews, the URL has been expanded. Your URL length has been expanded to over 8,000 characters. So if you have those URLs with those really big, long UTM codes or some sort of query parameters, we're supporting all of those now. We're always working to refine our reviewer experience, and this includes the mobile experience, the mobile web experience as well. We've done a little bit of work to just make it easier to work with comments and replies in the mobile viewer. And for those of you that use SSO, we've updated our roles-based provisioning so users can be provisioned into their desired role with dynamically assigned roles based on the characteristics from your identity provider. So if you're working with your IT team for auto user provisioning with SSO, technically it's using something called SCIM. This is a nice enhancement for you. A lot of these things are sort of some back-end IT pieces, but great to know that those are available and can be really helpful for you. Additionally, we've made some additional changes to our API too. Our robust API really allows many of you to create some great custom integrations. And so some recent updates to our API allows you to now trigger proof reports and PDF exports via the API in environments that can't use webhook callbacks. Now, if you don't know what that means, that's totally fine. For those of you who have done a little bit more automation in your environment, if you want to automatically export either proof reports or download proofs in PDF format with comments, you've always been able to automate that through the API. We've just now enhanced the API to make it a little bit easier to do in really more security restrictive environments. Additionally, we've added a new API to allow you to update a single stage without needing to update all of the stages. Just simplifies some of the automation that you can build into the stage management. So check out the Ziflow API documentation for more details, as we're always enhancing our best-in-class enterprise proofing API.
So that brings us to theme 2, the future of collaborative proofing. So one of our newest features that launched last year and something we're really excited about is Review AI. Mike, I know we showed this back at the autumn webinar, but for those folks who might not have seen it yet, can you give us a quick run through of how Review AI works?
Review AI is really all about being able to open up a proof and having a bunch of suggestions on whether that proof has met up with our maybe brand's expectations on if it passed or failed some checks. And it's all driven off the checklist. We'll go into some cool, exciting updates around checklists a little bit later on. But in this particular asset in my checklist, I can see there's already some suggested failures on here. I've got a comment around how my logo should appear in here. As I click into the comment, I can see, hey, that 360 logo, it should have been in black as opposed to in blue. As we scroll a little bit further down, there's actually a spelling error where we misspelled engineered in the body text down below. Further down, there's actually some company information that's incorrect. The website grew for you. We shouldn't have had that dash in the middle. And so this is something that when I open the proof up, right away, I actually have a few checks that don't really match up with some of the very specific details that my teammates would be looking for to make sure my brand's being kind of conveyed accurately on the page. This has been really fun to work with over the past couple of months with our clients and the agencies that we're working with. And I know there's some really cool, exciting updates that are coming here really soon. I think, John, you wanted to touch on those.
Let me just sort of introduce a few concepts that we've done and continuing to expand and develop what Review AI can actually do. So the first idea is this concept of reference information checks. And really what the goal here is how to be able to help you make your checks more dynamic. So for example, in Mike's demo there, he said, hey, make sure the URL is this. Well, every single asset maybe doesn't have the same URL that you want to be checking for. And so you want to be able to pull that information from some other external environment. What I want to highlight here in this particular case, let's say I've got to do an ingredients check on a package. Well, that ingredients is going to be different, obviously, for every single different package. So you want to be able to not have to hard code that into a check itself. This is now what we do where we're exposing brief information and making that available to Review AI. So Review AI is going to execute that check. It's going to go look at the asset and the brief, compare the information that's in the brief with the ingredients that are actually on the package. Hey, this matches, so it passes. Again, this gives you a way to make your checks more dynamic so then they can be more flexibly used within your process. Not only have we exposed briefs to Review AI, we've also exposed custom properties too. You can create a lot of parameterized capability by using custom properties as part of your check. So it's a nice way to connect everything together and make your checklist more reusable. Another piece that we've added here is exposing metadata information to Review AI. So you can do a check, for example, maybe you're doing some pre-flight size checks on digital ads, and you need to make sure that they're not larger than a certain size. So now you can actually take that check, you can write the check what it's actually supposed to be. These things have to be less than 500K. In this case, we see it's 525, so that check is going to fail. It's all about making your checks more dynamic so they're more useful as you start to roll this out more into production.
In practice, I just so happen to have a package ready and available inside of the Ziflow Proof Viewer. And I have 3 checks here. The first one is an ingredient list check. It's saying, hey, Mick, let's make sure the ingredients is correct and complies with the product specifications. Over in my comment list at the top, I've got that brief with a very clear ingredient list listed. And as we use what's probably my favorite tool in the kind of bar up top, that marquee zoom, to get a closer look at that supplemental facts section, we can see valerian roots listed twice. Omega-3 fatty acids is there, but it's not in the brief section. And so Review AI picked up on that. It told me, hey, there's a duplication. Omega-3 fatty acids is there. L-theanine 200 milligrams is missing. And so it read the check to go look at the brief. It looked at the brief. It looked at the supplemental facts section. It told me there's some issues here right away. The second check in this list is basically saying, if relevant, check for the recycling logo. But how does it know if that's relevant? Well, when I created this proof, I basically have a custom property field that says, is this recyclable? And I said, yes, it is. In the actual review AI prompt behind the scenes, the requirement says that verify that certification symbol appears if I said yes there. In the check, what we then see is it actually picked up the area where the symbols are. There is no recycling logo present on the page there, suggested that failure for me. And then the last one has to do with that proof metadata around the file type. Basically, when I approve this, I want to ship this file off to a folder in SharePoint. It must be an Illustrator file at that point. In this case, it's saying, hey, this is a PDF. We looked at the file's metadata. We also picked up some details in the file information section. This failed because it's not an Illustrator file. It read the source file as a PDF, and so it went ahead and failed that check for me as well. 3 different options that maybe vary from proof to proof that we can build into the checklist, so we have a lot more flexibility to use the same checklist over and over on proofs that have different information really every time we upload into Ziflow from here.
In some cases, you might want to run checks in a checklist that review AI isn't well suited for. Is that something you can adjust?
Absolutely. Happens all the time. Not everything is necessarily a check that review AI should or has to do. If we go back to this group view ad, we actually see there was one in here that review AI did not run. I'm calling it the vibe check. I think there's actually a lot of better opportunities for this. But basically, this is saying, hey, make sure the general vibe of this ad fits in with how we want our ads to look and feel. That's not necessarily something review AI is going to be great at picking up on. That's probably better for your team to do. So it told me, hey, this check was excluded from review AI analysis. It's very easy to check a box to do that when you're building your checklist out. And I can now go through and either pass or fail this and say, hey, I like the vibe. It's good. Let me give that green check mark and let the designer know I'm happy with what they did there.
Awesome. So we'll leave the vibe checks to the humans. Well, one more thing. We've seen a lot of static assets up to this point, this print ad, packages. What about our friends who do video?
Very, very excited to show this. I really haven't been able to show this off at all yet. So all of you here, you were the first people to see this outside of a couple salespeople I was chatting with the other day at Ziflow. Review AI for video is basically here, starting to be, private preview pretty soon. John will talk about this more in a bit. What I have here is a video, and we can see Review AI has already been run on it. I've got a couple checks done here. First, that classic spelling and grammar check. Perform a spelling and grammar check on this video. The first comment here picked up, hey, the correct spelling of night. That's not how you spell night. We've all been spelling that for years. It marked that up. It also gave me a little heads up of how long that actually appeared in here. So right as I click in there, it found that error for me. Another check here, this logo check is actually pretty interesting. I basically said, hey, our logo should appear within the first 3 seconds of this video. And it recognized, hey, I haven't seen that Track For You logo at all in here. It actually doesn't really appear in this video until about 4 or 5 seconds in. And so it flagged for me, hey, your brand, you're supposed to be highlighting your brand logo right away. It doesn't show up, so it let me know. And then another similar check to what we saw in the static asset, just making sure we're using the right brand kind of logos or websites or other details in there as well. Again, we're using the wrong website on here. We picked that up at the end of the asset for us.
John, I know we've also had a lot of customers asking about static assets and using really long documents and how Review AI works with multiple page PDFs.
So that's been a big request for people participating in the original Review AI early access program, and as more people roll it out into production. So we are currently working on that. Right now we have a 10-page limit on static assets, but we're expanding that. We were just talking this morning. What's the next threshold? 100, 500 pages? We want to find the right next balance of something that is practical in terms of the time it takes to run, but it looks like we're well on our way, and hopefully we'll have some more announcements coming around that next quarter about getting that into private preview for our Review AI users. This has been a bit of a journey that we've been on collectively across Review AI. We talked about this in our last session, and just to sort of ground everyone on this journey that we're on, because we're moving towards this future of AI-assisted collaborative proofing. So if you think where we are last year, if you will, before Review AI came out, is we were, people were just doing their ad hoc reviews. It was great. It beat the heck out of emailing around proofs and trying to get people to comment on it. We brought people to the asset to be able to have them comment. But once people were reviewing, they would just put in their opinions and their thoughts, and they check for different things. We introduced checklists, which actually gave you the ability to have a much more verifiable criteria. So now you could guide your reviewers as to what they should actually be checking, creating accountability for those checks, helping them understand what they should actually be checking, and allowing that everything actually does get checked. Those checklists then laid the foundation for what we're able to do with Review AI, which is first of all having AI assisted check verification. Then we delivered AI assisted feedback creation. So not only just saying this should pass or fail and maybe explaining a little bit why, actually writing an actionable comment, what needs to change, and dynamically drawing the markup that you can then actually share with designers to say, hey, here's the things that actually need to change. This moves us towards a path of being able to have creative approvals automated by AI. Now, what's important here is we take the premise that this should always be an assistant, not the thing that makes the final approvals. The idea is here, how do we make AI work with humans effectively? Now, it is getting to the point where it's pretty robust and you can do some good internal first round checks just to speed up that first round iteration where you can be checking a couple basic things. The final approval, we believe, should always be left to the human, but we have this ability now to actually automate some of those first stage approvals. All three of these things are part of Review AI, and last fall, they were in various stages of different public previews and private previews. What I'm excited to say now is as we continue to progress forward, all of this is available today. The creative, that final stage, there's some custom setup that you need to do to get that working. And so that's why we still have it in our public preview, but super excited to just have more people use this and really start to reduce some of that monotonous review time that needs to be done and use that AI as an accelerator for that. So we can go back and working on those higher value pieces that humans are great at. A lot of people are probably asking, well, wait, how do I get started with this Review AI thing? There's really three key pieces to this. So first of all, Review AI is a paid add-on, and it's available now on our enterprise plan. We'll be talking about potentially options for that in the future, but for now, you need to be on our enterprise plan to get access to it. Then there's some work to do to optimize your checklists for AI. That's work that we help you with and go through and understand how to best leverage your checklists in AI. What's important to note, though, is you don't have to be using checklists to start using Review AI. If you want to start using Review AI, you end up then using checklists along the way, but don't feel like you've got to have fully operational checklists before you start using Review AI. And as I said, we'll work together with your team to make sure that you've got the right guided sessions and training, and as well, great feedback for us too. As we all know, this AI technology is evolving so rapidly that every week there's something new coming up, and so we're looking to expand the different assets that we support. You saw video, we saw 10 plus pages, and we want more feedback from you around the things that you would find valuable to be checking. Come on board on the Review AI program. We're really excited to have more customers involved in it.
Let's pivot just slightly and talk about checklists, which are now generally available for our enterprise plan users. Mike, I know since we've last shown this feature, there have been a couple useful enhancements. Can you give us an update?
Yeah, well, so one of them just has to do with the adding a comment and connecting it to a checklist item. Basically, just being able to link an existing comment to a checklist item that was already there. I've done this myself. We use checklists in Ziflow internally, of course. And for an example here, we've got a checklist that's basically saying, make sure all mandatory disclaimers are present. I had added the comment saying, hey, this is the disclaimer I need on the bottom of the page. I want to make sure that my designer links up this checklist item with this comment. I didn't do that though when I created it. And so what I can do, I just edit this comment. I'll go ahead and attach it by hitting the plus sign on there. I've now got these two linked, so when I post it, they're now matched up. So just an easy little way for me to be able to take that existing comment and link it back to a checklist item, even though I already made the comment beforehand. Now, the other update here is actually around the export data to CSV update we talked about maybe either a webinar or two ago. Just as a little bit of a refresher, if I go into the dashboard here inside of Ziflow, you have this ability to go in and export really all of your proofs, whether you're running a filtered view or not, into a CSV to use in your own BI tools or using maybe a template that Ziflow provides, where you can really see some cool details around how your reviewers are proofing, what type of comments you're getting, stage details and turnaround time. And we've now added in the ability for you to also export checklist results out of there as well. This is really cool to help kind of unearth maybe common pain points and where proofs are failing, as well as like which checks are typically failing as well. And so kind of an example of what that might look like here. I've taken some of the data and brought it into an Excel sheet here, in this case, a Google Doc, and we can see the results on my checklist items. Some are passing all the time. That's great. I've got a few that fail occasionally. That's to be expected. But for the file organization and naming convention, that's failing a little bit more often than maybe I'm comfortable with. Maybe that's a training issue I need to talk about with the design team. Maybe there's something deeper there. Maybe it's actually the way we've described the checklist description. Either way, I can take that data about the checklist out, just like I was able to with reviewer and stage and comment information, and use whatever tool I want to really get a better understanding of what's happening with proofing inside of the tool there.
John, there are a couple other improvements and future updates coming soon.
So as Mike mentioned, export checklist results, link to existing comments, those have been added. We also have increased the number of checklists per stage that you can have. It was 3, now it's 10. So if you've got a 4-stage review process, 10 checklists each, that's 40 checklists. So you're well covered for just ultimate flexibility as to what you want to do. We've also optimized checklist visibility. If you've got a reviewer who's on multiple stages, we make sure that the checklists that they see are the ones that are more connected to the active stage that's happening right now. So just some UI tweaks to be able to just improve the usage of checklists overall. As well, checklist import export. So if you're working, especially for those of you maybe in an agency or a large multi-tenanted environment where you want to be able to move checklists between different tenants, the ability to export those and import them into other tenants is coming. Also, not relevant checks. As Mike said, sometimes review AI isn't great at checking a certain thing in like the vibe checks. Let's leave the vibe checks to the humans. Sometimes a check just it's not applicable to the proof that you're actually on. So instead of just leaving it blank, which makes it look like, hey, there's nothing actually, it just hasn't been looked at. The idea is not relevant check results allows you to just mark that instead of pass or fail. You can actually mark it as not relevant. A couple other things coming from a future perspective, block decisions until checklists are complete. Don't let people actually make their decisions until the checklist is complete. And even the idea of an AI assistant for checklist creation. So just describe the type of checklist you want, and AI will then automatically generate that checklist for you. So some great things that we have on the overall checklist roadmap that we're pretty excited about.
Now, I know there's a lot of excitement about this next feature, another heavily requested item by our customers, font inspection. Mike, can you show us how it works?
This one is really exciting. I'm calling this kind of step 1 in our Inspector Gadget series. I've been able to show this off to a few customers over the past couple weeks, and it's been nothing but like rave reviews. Basically, the font inspection tool is going to allow your team to verify your font types, sizes, and styles right within the proof viewer where you're already doing all your other proofing needs. You don't need to then jump out to the original design files to check that. Really lets you just do that complete brand consistency check right within here. And so when I'm reviewing a file, what we'll now have is this font inspector button in the bar up top. When I open that, I've got 2 options. I can either browse or I can use the point to see mode. As I browse, if I click into different options like what family it's from, what size font certain items are, it will highlight that in the document where they appear. Really good. Maybe I'm looking for, hey, we can't have any font that's smaller than size 8. Or I'm looking to make sure all the certain fonts meet up with the appropriate font style in here. It just identifies all of that for me across the page. Alternatively, if I'm looking at maybe, again, a disclaimer or I'm looking at certain sections of this asset, just want to see what that is. As I click into it in the point to see mode, it will return those results to me. This is really exciting. It's been really fun to show. It's great for the digital assets that you're uploading into Ziflow, just to see, again, what font's in here, just to help keep you in the proof viewer for really every step of the review process. And again, this is step 1 in the Inspector Go Gadget series.
We've got some other great inspectors coming, and you're also giving me some throwback to my childhood in the 80s of Inspector Gadget there. But so good inspection around QR codes and barcodes. So if you're in CPG, you do a lot of packaging, manufacturing, being able to detect and inspect barcodes is critical, and checking that the barcode scan actually matches what the number is. Instead of having to pull out your phone and take a picture of it and double check it, you can have that all tracked right within the system. Not only just barcodes, but QR codes too. So for those of you who do print marketing and then you want to connect that to digital marketing, obviously QR codes are a great way to do that, and ensuring that the URLs are correct. So that's really where barcode and QR code inspection comes. Now, the really interesting part with these inspectors is that both with font and the QR code inspectors, we can actually start to expose that information to Review AI as well. So now you can start to automate more of those checks too. Some great roadmap pieces here around this. The barcode scanning is in active development right now, and so we're looking forward to showing that off next time. And if those of you who are interested in barcode scanning, we'd love to talk to some more users around it, make sure we're covering all our bases of different use cases. There'll be an opportunity to sign up for some more research later on in the session.
What other enhancements have we released recently?
Three quick ones to highlight. Some Pixel Compare clarity. For those of you that use Pixel Compare, we've tried to just make it easier so you can sort of choose the granular level or the sensitivity level of how that Pixel Compare works. Another thing is around our asset selector. If you're doing batch proofs and you've got a bunch of assets in a single proof, we just improved that asset selector so the images are bigger. You can read all the titles. It expands down the page. Just makes it easier for your reviewers to navigate around a set of assets. And the final thing, something we kind of call incognito reviews. This is an org-wide setting that allows you to turn off the presence indicator on the proof viewer. So if you're in a world, maybe if you've got clients reviewing assets and you don't want to have different clients seeing, noticing that you're online at the same time as the client is, you can turn off that presence indicator overall in your organization.
So we've made it to our third theme now. It is the connected Creative Ops ecosystem. Now, we know you and your team use a variety of different tools in your daily work, from design to project management to file storage. And one of our goals is to help connect the tools you work in every day so the creative review process can be as low friction as possible. To that end, we've got a couple things to share here. John, I know we've been working to expand our ClickUp integration, which is very exciting. Can you share the latest?
This has been something that's been pretty key for us and continuing to expand where you can be doing your proofing work. So it's a big step forward for teams using both Ziflow and ClickUp. So our focus here is really simple. It's about reducing the friction and bringing your workflows closer together. With this enhanced integration, you can create proofs directly inside ClickUp and instantly access the proof status and details right alongside your tasks. So there's no context switching needed. So we're rolling this out into private preview starting early Q2. So if you're a ClickUp user, you'll have a chance later in this session to sign up and get early access.
This is really exciting. It's all about bringing the proofing experience right into ClickUp, where people who are using ClickUp work every day. What this lets me do is click right into a ClickUp task, and there we've got that nice Ziflow logo. And when I click in, I've now got the ability on the right-hand side to go ahead and create a proof. When I create that proof, I can drop in my file, of course, which could be anything. We're not tied to any of those file size limitations. We're not tied to having to have people be ClickUp users or Ziflow users that are reviewers. I drop in my workflow template and create, and we're good to go. We'll see Ziflow, of course, upload that file for us. It's going to invite the reviewers in as well. It's going to send out that invite. And then in a second, we'll start to see those ClickUp automations work its way through as well. Update the status, transition it into in review as well. All those little updates for us that would happen within the actual ClickUp board will go. This is great for people who are using ClickUp. You don't have to do the copy link, bring it into the Ziflow dashboard, paste it into the proof creation screen. It's all done within the context of your ClickUp project.
So in the spirit, I know we say we always want to meet people where they work. I know we've got some other updates that have been made to our project management integrated tools. Can you tell us a little bit more about those?
If you've been on one of these calls in the past couple of times, you've probably also seen we have a very similar experience with Monday.com. Again, we want to work where people are working. The whole time we've been showing that, it's been within the Monday.com browser view. Probably the biggest ask people had, though, was, hey, can you add this to the desktop application as well? We've gone ahead and done that. I'm in the Monday.com desktop app here. As you can see, I've opened up a task. I've got a proof here ready to go. One thing that's nice to know, I can, of course, create a proof. I can go into the proofs to review and, view my proofs as well. We've also made an addition to this integration where before I'd have to hit this 3 dots to create a new version. It was a bit of a clunkier experience. We've added in this big blue plus sign now to create new versions. So if I want to drop in a new file to create a new version of a proof through the Monday integration, I just hit that plus sign. It takes me right there, all within the context of the actual Monday.com interface. So a little easier to create a version in the desktop application. I'll also note, like behind the scenes, we made some updates to the Monday.com flow templates for some better data synchronization. If you've set up this integration, you know what I'm talking about. It just makes sure Monday's a little bit more up to date and accurate as proofs progress through their approval process. Speaking of flow templates in Ziflow Connect, we do also have a kind of nice update there as well. This is going to be something that our administrators of Ziflow should be really happy about, or at least our sales engineers who sometimes have to set up an integration 30 minutes before a demo. When a Ziflow Connect integration would fail, users would see this red failure indicator, but there'd be no indication or explanation as to why the fail would flow, which would sometimes make troubleshooting a little bit difficult for teams building and managing automations. And so what we've done with this Failed Connect Flow update, we now include an error view. When I click into it, it shows me the API response that's returned by the connected service. And depending on the integration, this is either going to be like a raw data response or a human readable error message from the provider. I will note this response is only visible to the owner of the flow or the admin who created it. In this case, this was a little smart sheet integration I had set up. I was trying to update a custom property back in Ziflow after the proof was created. Because I know Ziflow, I know what the flow was, I can see this and say, oh, there was something wrong with the property being turned off. I should go make sure that's turned back on. Just really nice for those of you who spend a lot of time in Connect, who have had a failed flow before. Now you've got a little bit more of a heads up as to, hey, why did this thing actually fail on me?
Our Hrymak integration now supports connecting to subtasks. We've enhanced our Jira integration to make it easier for non-administrators to use transitions to set up statuses in Jira and change statuses in Jira. And for those of you who move your approved files over to SharePoint, we've added in an option that improves the reliability of your automation, where you can now select how to handle file name conflict. So do you want to overwrite or rename the file? So some nice enhancements there around the project management tools, which also leads into some of the work that we've done with our creative tools. We continue to expand and enhance these plugins as well. So our new Figma plugin is now generally available. It's a huge time saver for designers when creating proofs that are built in Figma. And for video teams, we've enhanced our Premiere Pro plugin to make it faster for you to review only parts of the video. Now you can create proofs from different in and out points and selected time ranges right from Premiere Pro, helping you grab your feedback quicker. So lots of great enhancements across all parts of the connected creative ops ecosystem.
Mike and John, this has been great. We appreciate you sharing all the things that we've delivered and giving us a look at what's to come. And as promised earlier, we've got something new for you this webinar. We want to pull back the curtain on something a little different. We're going to show you 2 features that are still in early experimental stages and may or may not get released at some point, but we're genuinely interested to get your reaction. We have a hypothesis that these will solve real pain points, but you're the ones who know your workflows best. So as we walk through these, we definitely want to hear your feedback.
This first one is really around what we call video transcription. So think about reviewing a video with lots of spoken words and needing to check every place that a key term is mentioned or verify a claim is actually worded correctly. The challenge is finding to and getting back to those moments without having to rewatch the entire video. We've actually got a quick pre-recorded video that will walk you through how video transcriptions work as a way to address this need. So let's play that video.
For this demo, I'm going to use a Review AI walkthrough demo video that Mike and our creative studio put together.
Hey there. Today we're going to take a look at Review AI inside the Ziflow Proof View.
This is a great video if you haven't had a chance to watch it. But what we're going to do is simulate me reviewing this as a product manager. I need to check the messaging, accuracy, and consistency, product functionality, the way it's described, and like all reviews, I'm tight on time. So let's open the experimental transcript panel. I can read through the transcript, jump through different sections of it, being able to select different words and take me right to the spot within the video where those words are spoken. I could even select a certain range of text and then play that back.
Some are a bit more generic, like validate that spelling and grammar is correct.
I could even search for different words here and look for instances of where that word actually occurs. So I found this section here. I want to see what this section is talking about.
Other examples might include the legal copy item, which shows the mandatory disclaimer that must be present.
So in this area, actually, I want to just make a quick comment. So what I can do now is just comment on this whole section. This whole text now is brought into the comment. I can draw my markups and then post this, and you'll notice it's actually time coded within the proof viewer itself.
For teams reviewing interview footage or product demos or any video where words matter as much as the visuals, this is really designed to dramatically cut down on the time it takes to give precise, actionable feedback. Let's go over to our next idea here. Our goal is to make it easier for reviewers to provide really rich and specific feedback while also ensuring that creative teams receive clean, actionable input. So getting us close to the experience of sort of being in the room so you can really be able to collaborate more effectively together. Let me show you what this idea of live comments really means.
Live comments seeks to rethink how to capture feedback. Instead of just creating a comment and drawing a markup, I can simply talk and point, and Ziflow takes it from there. So let's make a comment here on this ad. I just simply click record. So let's reduce the sheen on the model's face here and on the shoulder. And these headlines feel a little unanchored compared to the value propositions here. These headlines feel like they're sort of floating a little bit. I know the nature background is supposed to be here from the brief, but it's really hard to tell, like, what exactly is this background? You can now see everything that I spoke was being transcribed in real time. And everything that I did was on the screen was actually being recorded. So my comments being summarized, extracting the specific actions needed just from talking. So we can see here's all the actions that were determined. So I can now post this comment. Now, as the designer coming in to review the feedback, I can see exactly what I need to do to work on this. I can see I got to reduce the sheen on the shoulder, anchor the headline. So I have a real clear set of bullet points of actions that I need to take. But if I want to have more context about what was actually happening, what I can do is actually open up the entire record. So let's reduce the sheen on the model's face here and on the shoulder. And these headlines feel a little unanchored compared. So now I get the full description and review of what was actually happening here. This gives me a chance to see the reviewer's thinking and intent of their feedback.
So we're pretty excited about this idea. The goal here is that it's, sometimes reviewers have this weird way of giving you sort of some compressed or unclear version of what they actually mean, because sort of translating thought into written annotations can take some effort. It's especially true at early stages in early concept feedback, when feedback's more intuitive than precise. So, this doesn't feel right is generally hard to put into a text box. So we're trying to create, as I said before, a little bit more of that in the room experience, but adapted for the distributed, asynchronous, and cross-organizational teamwork reality that we all work in today.
Yeah, John, those are really cool ideas. I look forward to, seeing how they progress. Is there anything else that you wanted to share about the future?
I want to close off with a roadmap item that we're really excited about that we call File Sync and Share. So with this, you'll be able to mount your shared Ziflow folders directly as a local drive on your desktop. So instead of jumping between tools, all your files are just there, right where you work. So for designers, editors, writers, this makes the workflow much more natural. Your files are replicated from your desktop into Ziflow instantly without you even needing to create a proof. And more importantly, it opens up collaboration earlier in the process. Teams can access and share in-progress work or input files from a shared workspace, making it easier to stay aligned before anything is formally needing to be reviewed. This is really about bringing Ziflow closer to where creative work actually happens. If this is something that you think can be useful within your team, we actually have a lot of user research activity going on right now, and we'd love to hear from you. So as always, your feedback helps shape where we go next. So there's a few different ways to get involved. You can just scan this QR code. It'll also be available in the email that'll come out to you later, and tell us what you're interested in. If you're thinking about review AI for video or multi-page assets, or just want to get started leveraging AI to improve your review process, then let's get you going with it. Or if font inspection caught your eye, or if you're a ClickUp user, I saw some comments in the Q&A. People were celebrating in the office with the ClickUp integration, and you're looking to manage your proofs directly within ClickUp, we'd love to get you into our private free preview and get some feedback on the integration. We've also walked through two capabilities that are still in active research. This is where your input matters a lot, whether it's barcodes or QR code inspection, or you're curious about our new file sync and share functionality that is in design and development now. Sign up for a research session and share your needs directly with our team. And then finally, if either of the two last experimental feature demo ideas sort of spark some ideas with you, it's something that you think can make a difference in your organization, we'd love to have a conversation, demo it live to you, and let's dig in and actually work out together through some of these ideas.
We've had a lot of great engagement and questions throughout the presentation that our teammates have been answering live in the chat, but we also wanted to take a few questions here today. Let's start with Review AI. John, are checklists needed in order to utilize Review AI? And are we able to test out Review AI before deciding to add that feature?
Yeah, so the way that we have our Review AI sessions set up is you join us, you give us some assets, you give us a checklist, and we actually can demo it for you. Mike does a lot of these, and it's a great way to just understand how it actually works within your environment. And then based on those assets, then you can make a choice to see whether you'd like to get the add-on. The add-on is set up around a credits model. It's a very generous set of credits. The technology continues to change so much. We want people a lot of time to be able to figure out how can they more effectively use AI to evolve their process and not necessarily have to make a snap judgment. So that's why we've done this as sort of a paid add-on that you can quickly get access to. I don't know, Mike, anything else you want to add into that?
Yeah, so I've actually been kind of taking the lead on a lot of those meetings with our clients who are interested in learning about how Review AI can work for them. And it's been a really kind of fun working session, if anything. Usually they will send over an asset. They'll send over an idea of like, hey, here's some of our brand guidelines. Here's the checks I would have our team typically look at. We'll prepare something, but then it's a really active working session of, hey, here's some of the results I saw. Here's some of the interesting things that it flagged on your document. Here's some of the other things I thought might be useful. What do you guys think, and what could be better? What could be different? How else could you see this being used? It's a really fun, like, consultative experiment working with people. And then from there, because it is a tool that gets better the more you use it, as you start to onboard, you really get to start playing and experimenting and finding out how you can utilize it on all your different assets. So it's a really kind of fun exercise to get started with and then onboarded into.
I didn't answer the first part of the question,
Yeah.
which is, do you need checklists to use Review AI? Yes, in a way you do, but that's more just to be able to give you the ability to work with AI along with humans on your results. So there needs to be a place where you can get the results of a check. So I know I've talked to many users who they upload their assets into ChatGPT and it says, check this for me, and they get some output. That's great. What do you do with the output then? How do you share that, right? Like, you're getting AI to give you a response. The whole point of collaborative online proofing is you bring people together and bring all the feedback together in one place. And so checklist is just the way for you to describe what you want the system to check. Yeah. And then automatically it all lands in the place.
And I guess on the inverse, you don't need Review AI to utilize checklists. So if you're an enterprise customer who wants to start taking advantage of that, you already have. If you're on the pro plan and you think checklists could be a good first step towards Review AI, it might be something you consider moving up to the enterprise plan to start taking advantage of the checklist that you can use. So something to mention there.
One more thing on Review AI. Does the video review that you showed, will that ultimately support other languages like Spanish?
It does, yeah. The bulk of our testing right now, we are testing in English. However, we have started to expand out across multiple languages. It does a fantastic job. So we're pretty bullish about what we can do across multiple languages.
I was going to say, speak for yourself. I get dragged into a couple different language conversations. I don't really know what they say, but they seem like the results are good and the clients seem happy. So it works.
Well, here's a question about the font inspector. Is it only able to work on a PDF, or does it work on a flattened image without live text?
With the font inspection today, it does work off of a PDF because we're actually extracting the font details right from the PDF. If you do have a flattened image, and the font details are important, and you want to know the specific exact font type and size and so forth, AI and using like optical character recognition and machine vision to be able to detect those things, it's not very accurate in a lot of cases. So we recommend, if font in detection is important to you, that from your source files, whether it's an Illustrator file or a Figma file or whatever, export those as PDFs to be able to upload rather than working with just the pure flat file.
Can Review AI reference content in another integrated platform such as ClickUp? We have a lot of that information in the project details that we would need to paste into the proof brief. So is that something you're looking into?
That's where we would like to go. And I think Quinn, you asked that question, and we'd love to talk further about it. So definitely, if we maybe move on to the next slide, click that QR code and just drop your name in there, because we'd love to talk a little bit more about how to best pull information from these other systems and how to best reference that information externally. So with some of the integrations that we've done with Monday, with ClickUp, with Asana, we have access to those systems already. And so that could be a great place for a source of information to be able to draw information from.
Let me give you some quick calls to action. Our Help Center is a fantastic resource for all things Ziflow. We'll post the Spring 2026 webinar recap article there next week, so be sure to check that out. Also, be sure to check out our YouTube channel. There's a ton of great content there. We'll also be posting the recording, as I mentioned earlier, early next week, and we'll also email that to you. Keep your eye on your inbox. And if you have any additional questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to your customer success manager, either directly at customer.success@ziflow.com, or you can schedule a meeting with them using the link ziflow.com/schedule-a-call, and also available in the chat. There are additional opportunities to get more details about the features we're delivering to you outside of these webinars. So one is our In the Flow newsletter. You can sign up there at ziflow.com/blog. And you'll get a monthly delivery to your inbox with links to our Help Center and our release notes, letting you know what we've delivered over the prior 4 weeks. We also have Ziflow's customer office hours every other Tuesday with our amazing customer success team at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. And finally, Ziflow Academy, which you can find at academy.ziflow.com. This is our on-demand video-based training. We're always adding new sessions, so definitely head over there to get up to speed on all things Ziflow. And that's our time. On behalf of Mike Hrymak, John Stetic, and the entire Ziflow team, thank you for attending the Spring 2026 product release webinar. We're always excited to compile these updates and present sneak peeks of the roadmap to you. So we'll look forward to seeing everybody on the next one. Thanks. Have a great day.